What do you think is the most important factor for kids to develop into adulthood to make them have success in life? Some of you might be thinking maybe educational foot up, maybe parental supervision, maybe wealth, maybe the ability to have the best everything, maybe talent. And your answer will be wrong. I was reading this book right here, mind-blowing, about this psychologist who basically dedicated her entire life to prove her father wrong, he always told her, you're never going to be a genius, you're never going to be smart. And she proved him wrong by basically getting the highest level of education, I can't remember all of her degrees, in psychology, to determine what makes people the most successful. So she studied West Point graduates, Army Ranger graduates, people in sales, people in Fortune 500 companies, to develop a scale of success where she would test people before they entered in a big competition or a big test or whatever, and give them this test. I'm going to tell you this test at the end, which link it is. And then they would do their competition or their big spelling bee or their big, boot camp or whatever. And then she would see and track these people after a certain amount of time, after these months, after these years in West Point or whatever. And she could track exactly who would be able to stick with it at the end based on her findings. So she was able to develop the test called the grit scale. And basically, it's the ability to stick with something no matter how hard it is. Yeah, that is it. If your kids understand the ability to stick with something, even though it's hard, even though it's boring, even though it's not always fun, but put in that work ethic, they are going to be a success in life. You probably have seen this lady on TED Talk. You've probably seen her on books. She's all over the internet on her findings on grit. Now, for me as an educator and a homeschooler, of course, I'm always looking at how can my kids be the most successful? What research can I put in so that I can teach my kids and show them how to be a better parent? So something that she said really stuck with me because I was never in really any GT classes. I was never the smartest kid in the room. I was just an average student. And even to this day, I feel like everything comes hard to me, like starting a business. I'm a self-taught photographer and media specialist that I have worked my butt off for the last 14 years, looking at YouTube channels, taking classes. For me to not even be at the goals that I really want to be, but I am sticking with it. I am obsessed with creating, and therefore I am putting in the work. Where my husband, on the other hand, he started being a contractor from learning from YouTube 5 years ago, and within 1 month he was full-time. This is the story of my life. He was always section leader, in band, first chair, everything, straight A's, never had to study. I was busting my butt in the library until midnight, until I had to walk home at 1 a.m. every day. Never had a computer in college, had all of these obstacles where he was playing video games and playing Halo, and he got all A's and has 3 master's degrees, and I was busting my butt for 1. So the story of my life has been, I'm not going to be the most talented, but I will outwork you. I might not be the most sought after, but I will show up. I might not have the best stuff, but the knowledge that I have and the grit that I have and the work ethic that I have, like I will outwork, outrun, outplay, outthink, outcreate anybody. And that is something that I've had to really dig deep and learn, even from a young age. Even when I was trying to get into colleges, I had 8 rejection letters. I couldn't even get into college. I couldn't even get the major I wanted. I wanted to do music education, but they're like, you're not good enough at music. So you're going to have to switch to regular education because there's always this need of teachers and we always have these big openings, but you're not good enough, basically is what James Madison University told me when I was playing flute at the time. They're like, yeah, there's no opening for you. So I literally entered college in my last choice school, doing my last choice career to push through. And that's something that I've had to really dig deep and really coach and teach my kids and try to develop that in them through doing chores, having responsibility, projects, going with us on the job site, showing them work ethic in the flesh. And so I would love for you guys to read this book. Just every parent needs to read this book. It's going to really help you to know, like, what's a higher priority? Is it getting good grades? Is it getting your kids in Harvard? Is it getting them to be lawyers, doctors, nurses? Or is it to develop grit? So highly recommend this. Would love to see any comments or questions below on homeschooling in Virginia. I've been doing it for 14 years. You can see me at thefunschoolers.com to see my podcast and other things. All right, guys, have a great one.